the things that you start to do, that you find yourself doing, that stem from a place like a deep within, you're like, I'm going to do this because I like it and it interests me and I just feel called to do it. Those are the things that really open up your life. Those are the things that really bring light and so much spirit into your life. And I, like, ever since I started doing that, literally asking myself, because I would find myself time and time again, I'm like, okay, I'm focusing on different aspects of myself and trying to be a better person, but I keep running into this, it felt like walls. It would literally be like, woo, 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 boom, and then a wall pops up out of nowhere, kind of like in like in like Mario. If you're playing like Mario, like on the old Nintendos, I'm not a gamer, so I'm probably really butchering this. Probably like it's Super Smash Bros. Or Super Mario Brothers. Just the one where like you would go on the quest and you would do things. This is so tangential, but that's what it would feel like. I would be on like, I would just be running joy for life, and then boom, a wall would come up, and it'd just be like, bruh, how do I get these walls to go away? And I asked myself, I'm like, how do I get rid of these walls? Like, what has presented these walls? And at the root of all the walls was fear. It would take me months, years, and it's going to continue to take me years to realize why I put walls in places where they don't need to be. Because ultimately, they are of my own creation. The walls are of my own creation, but I now understand how they're created, so I can like not create them, and instead I use that same energy, to create like doors. Yes, that's a beautiful metaphor. I'm creating doors instead of walls now, which means that I'm just walking into all types of like, I'm just learning. I'm learning so much. I'm much more open now. I'm not scared to just try that. I started to tell myself to just try around, I'll say like early January, February, like March 2020, which seems to be that was the pivotal month for me. That's when things really started to skyrocket as far as like my journey and being with thyself and learning about myself. My my lessons started to come very quickly. And at the time, it was really scary for me. I found myself in almost a constant state of anxiety at the time, because I didn't know how to exist with so much energy that I was pulling in to my sphere at the time. And even saying it now, I'm like, yeah, that's what was happening. I was going through a change too. I was like opening up, but also being like, whoa, I don't know what to do with what I'm finding. So I'm kind of, it's like I was being welcomed and swallowed at the same time. But now I've like mellowed out, truly. Like, I would always be so surprised when people would be like, tell me things like, oh, Kalia, you're so chill. Like, you're like chill. They would tell me I'm chill, when I knew on the inside, at a lot of moments in my life, I felt the complete opposite of chill. Like, just so discombobulated, like I can't settle down just to be in the present. But through meditating and through spending a lot of time alone, sometimes by force, like literally God was like, Kalia, you're not supposed to be around people right now. And I listened to that. I didn't know why. I'm literally never been alone up until the point in my life where I started spending time by myself. I went a long time like everybody does. You have friends, you got family. You don't really need to be alone in today's society. And like some people like end up alone or are isolated, and I believe everything happens for a reason. So like I was definitely isolated during that time when the world was going through a lot. Like I personally was like, whoa, I felt like I was waking up. Like I had been asleep for a long, like I'd taken a really long nap, and then I was waking up, and then like when you take a nap, you wake up, you're like, okay, like I'm still in the same, you're like processing, right? So you're like, okay, is it still the same day? Did I sleep into the next day? What was I doing before I took a nap? What did I want to do after I woke up from said nap? How was the nap? All these things are going on, and that's what my 2020 and 2021 thus far has felt like. But now I'm kind of at the point of like post nap, where it's like, okay, bet this is my life. Let's go. Like, what do I want to be a part of this journey? And that's now that's what I'm doing. And it feels really, really nice to like express myself, because I went a really long time like partially expressing myself. Like I was expressing myself in the way that I had observed was okay. It's from like a social standpoint, as far as like the groups of people I was hanging around, and like my friends and my family, like where you learn from, you know, you pick up on things. You're like, okay, like this is cool, this isn't cool, this people receive this well when I'm like this, you know. I was building an identity, bro. Like, it's literally, that's what's happening during adolescence. And I I learned some attributes that I've had to unlearn, you know, as I've gotten a little bit older. I'm now in my early 20s. And what a time this is. I call this like my realization period of life, but like my whole life is going to be one huge realization. Ultimately, but right now, really, this is my realization period. Like I woke up from that nap in 2020, and now I'm like in 2021, I'm like, okay. The realizations are hitting. They were hitting then, and now they're set, but like they're hitting me, they're caressing me, they're not even hitting me, you know. They're nurturing me. I'm learning my lessons. I'm learning a lot of lessons, simple lessons, deep lessons, lessons that are rooted in trauma, you know, like really, really like sitting with myself. I take meditation. I love meditation. I've learned what meditation is. I used to try to meditate when I was a kid, and I just thought it was like sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce, and like you had to be as quiet and like not thinking as much as you could. And if you couldn't do that, then you couldn't meditate, right? And then I never tried again. I tried it like one afternoon after I was done reading. I think I was reading Harry Potter at the time. Excuse me. That was a great burp though. Like I needed to burp. You should burp. Never holding your burps. Seriously though. But I tried to meditate at one time, and I never tried again until I was 21 years old, 22 years old. I started getting back into meditation, and now it is a part of like my livelihood. If I do not meditate, like once you sit in silence long enough to hit the peak of silence, like when it caresses you instead of like scares you, and you're like, I need to fill this up, the world started hitting different. The world really started hitting different. But I've also learned that meditation comes in different ways. Like tonight, my intention was to meditate. I was going to sit in silence. But this week has been my week of movement, my week of like expression with my body. And my body is an instrument, right? We can sing. So I've been singing. And I spent tonight listening to music and moving around and recording myself, listening to my voice. I'm like doing things that I've been wanting to do, that I see other people doing, and I'm like, that's because I'm that's my spirit's way of telling me, hey, look at these ones and ones. Right? They're people like you. There are people like you who express. You too can express, and express in the ways that are fun to me and that I've been doing since I was a child, like recording myself on my little flip phone, like me singing. I love singing. I used to write songs when I was a kid. I'm like again, so many people, you know, when you're depressed, your memory turns to ish, and it's because you're in like high stress mode, you're in survival mode, so your mind has to consolidate what it's doing for the rest of your body, for your heart and for your spirit, and memories go with that. But your brain is still consuming all that information, and you can access your memories once you get to a place of silence within, so that they come back to you because they're in there. They don't disappear. They're like, our brain is like a computer, you know, it stores everything, and sometimes it could take the smallest thing. It could take a word, it could take a certain someone saying a word to you, a certain someone looking at you or doing something, and then a flood of memories will come back to you, will be gifted back to you about precious moments in life. I went through a period of time like early in this year where I was reflecting. I was doing a lot of reflection, and but a lot of my thoughts about my childhood were very negative, and I was like, bro, like, nah. I started to remember things about my childhood that were fun and pleasant and happy, and I'm like, there were a lot of those moments, you know, and I can remember them if I let myself. So I've been letting myself be happy, and I've been letting myself think of happy things and happy memories, and like listen to music that makes me happy, do activities that make me happy. I love nature. I'm a super, super, super earthy person, and being outside is like, there's nothing like it. Where I live right now, I call it, it's the sanctuary, you know, it's my home. And the way that our home is situated is there's a tree growing on the sidewalk, like on the path in front of my apartment. But from up where my apartment is placed, you know, or on the third floor, when I look out this window, it looks like I'm in a treehouse. And I didn't realize this until like a couple of months of me living here. And I really sat here one day and was like, I'm living like, this is like my childhood dream. I'm surrounded by plants, comfortable things, fun things, nurturing things. And then my house feels like it's a tree house, and one day I will have a tree house. So it's like, bruh, it's like manifesting on top of manifesting, but rooted in childhood daydreams. For real though, I remember a memory I hadn't had in forever. You know, I saw some flowers that looked just, I'm pretty sure they were the exact type of flower that grew in my backyard when I was like a small child. So this is like from birth to like maybe 5 years old. I would play. I had this, like, we had a backyard, we had a tree. It was so beautiful. Like, I always remember the grass being like, oh man, it was like they really took care of the space in the neighborhood that I lived in when I was a kid. And I would play in my backyard. I would like see those flowers and just think they're so pretty, and I would want to pick all of them and like give them to my brothers and sisters, and just be kind, and I would play back there and just be with myself, really. Even as a child, like, my siblings would be around, but they didn't necessarily have to play with me. I was perfectly fine entertaining myself. And now I realize it's because I was like swept away with nature. Even at that age, like, I knew trees, there's a vibe. You hang around trees, like, they're alive, you know? Very intelligent, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful beings. I love trees. And I would climb trees a lot when I was a kid, and it was just like, whoa. Like, no fear at all. Like, falling, what's that? Nah, like, the tree got me. As long as I hold onto the tree and I put my feet, you know, one foot after the other, you can climb a tree. You sit wherever you want. It's super awesome. I haven't climbed a tree in forever though. Like, I remember the last time I like actively tried to climb a tree, I got scared. And this is like years later from me as that little girl climbing the tree, no fear, not thinking about falling, not thinking about none of that stuff. I was just like, bro, I'm in a tree and this is fun. And that has led me to where I'm at right now in this exact moment. And through my expression and the words that I've just shared, peace be with you listening to this right now, and peace be with your inner child, because they speak to you. Do the things that make you happy. Do the things that make you smile. Surround yourself with what makes you happy. Because despite what society may have people thinking, the masses thinking, us as a people's thinking, because, you know, happiness and love is of the essence. Fear, nah. Stress, nah. Happiness, love, peace.